That's a large crowd.
And we're about halfway through introduction, so you should get to hear everybody else's name. And Wilma, which block do you live on?
400 block of Ilchester.
Welcome.
And
Jenny?
I've been in the area for a long time, and I was one of the original ones who started and named Harwood. Just want to keep that in front of you all because it's a history that I'm proud of. My brother and I were involved in many of meetings. I've been going to many of meetings for years. It's just that I've slowed down now because I'm older.
Well, we're glad that you're still coming, and we appreciate all of your input.
And don't forget to tell them about the park, Wilma. This is Yvonne.
Oh yeah, the park. Yeah, the park has been around for a long time. And as a matter of fact, my brother, and I think I mentioned this the last time I was on, my brother, along with Mayor DuBurns, which some people might remember from years ago, and I forgot the other man's name. I can't remember his name right now. They were the ones who made it possible for the park and to be there and revise that park. So, and there was a plaque there before it was revived, and with the new, the original plaque that was there because of their creating that area. So it's a lot of history behind that. Thank you for asking me about that.
No problem.
And my brother's name was Donald Forbes, and he passed away last year. But he was always asking me, what's going on with Harwood? What is Harwood doing? So I always try to do my best to keep him up with what was going on. And he was so proud of that. He was happy that I was still attending, even though I'm not as active as I used to be. Okay, I'll stop with that. Thank you.
We appreciate you being here, Wilma.
You're welcome.
Jenny?
Hey, can you hear me? Okay, cool. I'm Jenny. I live at 401 Whitridge, and my computer's being real screwy, so I will participate as I can.
Welcome. Is it Kasia or Cassia? I think you're on mute.
Hi,
still.
it's
There you go.
Kasia. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's Kasia, and I am on 2700 block of Guilford.
Wonderful. Welcome. Regina?
Happy New Year.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. It's a new year. I'm Regina T. Boyce, one of 3 delegates of the 43rd District. Happy to be here. Happy to see you. Happy to be stepping, hopefully, forward in a lot of good directions.
Thank you so much for being here. I think Miller, you're next.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry. Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. Board member for Harwood. I'm also your CVCA president and your CVCBD rep, vice president, and all that other good stuff.
Welcome. Neelam?
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm here representing the Waverly Branch Library. It's located on the 400 block of East 33rd Street.
Thank you very much for joining us. Christina?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Christina Williams, the Executive Director for the Charles Village Community Benefits District. Happy New Year.
Happy
Welcome.
New
Thanks for
Year.
joining us. Next is Tina.
Hi, Happy New Year, everyone. This is Tina and Ross, and we are at 330 East 26th Street.
Welcome. The next person, it says D. Simon. D. Simon, would you like to introduce yourself?
Must be on mute.
Could be. D. Simon, we'll come back to you if I see you hop off mute. Next on my screen, I have G. Clay. G. Clay, would you like to introduce yourself? I think they might be having some issues as well. And last but not least, we've got Leslie. Leslie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, former Charles Village Community Benefit District representative and past Harwood board member.
Can barely hear you.
Yeah, it is a little hard to hear you.
Sorry. Hopefully this helps. I don't know. Is it any better?
Yep, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry. Past Charles Village Benefit District Representative and Board Member.
Awesome. Welcome. G. Clay, I believe I saw you came off mute. Would you like to introduce yourself? I think they might be having some connecting issues. Let's see. All right. Well, we will just go ahead and move forward. Ms. Ramos, just joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself? We were just finishing our introductions.
Yeah, sure. Sorry to be late. Hi, everybody. Councilwoman Odette Ramos, 14th District. Happy New Year.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. First on the agenda, Russell, would you like to tell everybody about membership and dues and how they can pay that in the new year?
Yes, I do. It's January, everybody, and that means that Harwood Community Association dues are renewing. They are $10 per household for the year, and the dues allow you to vote on Harwood Community Association decisions, and they enable us to continue this Harwood Community Association organization, keep it running through the year. So payments can be made online. We have a We Did It page, and I'm going to share a link to our Facebook page where you can find all of that relevant information. If you feel more comfortable making in-person payments, you can just reach out to me at treasurer at Harwood Community or at harwoodbaltimore.com. And that's also in the post on Facebook. So really just check out our Facebook page. It's the pin post at the top. And you have two options, either filling out the membership form by hand, which I'll have, and I can leave on my porch, or you can do it all online, all remotely. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting everyone involved this year. And like I said, it's just $10 per household, and then that support goes a long way for us. So just reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm happy to work with you, and looking forward to working with you all this year.
Awesome, thank you. Next up on the agenda, we've got some CVCA information. Miller, were there any updates on the Sisson Street transfer station? Anything that you can share at this time?
There is nothing, and we are they're looking into alternatives. I think that a lot of people are getting the updates regarding that possible move of that convenience station so that Seawall can move forward with some development there, but there are no updates at this. You're on mute, Keith.
Thank you, Miller. Was there anything else from CVCA that you would like to share?
No, we're just in the process of adjusting for the year, given that COVID is still moving at increasing rates. We're adjusting things. Obviously, festivals may not happen, and we're going to have to change some of the
yes.
newsletter. So,
yes, I have it.
Oh, who's that? I think someone came.
No.
There you go. So we're just trying to see what this year is going to, be like. I think that we're also looking at some of the things that have been happening in the neighborhood, like the closing of Eddie's, and we got a lot that's just kind of come around that we're working on.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that update. And just kind of to speak a little bit more, I kind of alluded to it, but if you weren't on our last meeting, there's been some chatter about the possibility of the Sisson Street transfer station being moved, which it would be really, really tough for us. And also looking at it from the Charles Village Community Benefits District, that's where the Benefits District takes all the trash that they pick up. It's a good strategic point for the neighborhood, and it seems like a lot of people really enjoy having that there. So if that's something that you use or you make use of, please let your representatives know that that's something that you would like to stay there. They're talking about potentially moving it, and we would like to see it stay if at all possible. Next up on the agenda are community reports and discussions. First and foremost, I hope everybody's heard that recycling is set to return January 19th, which I think there's a lot of people that are probably pretty excited about. So hopefully we won't have to do any more community pickups. We had a dumpster day and community pickup. Christina in the Charles Village Community Benefits District put that together for us. And we did a recycling pickup with the, I forget the group that was with. Miller, can you chime in on that? I don't have it in front of me.
Sure. So you're talking about the Maryland Department of Environment,
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. The Maryland Department of the Environment was the one that we partnered with to get our recycling picked up, and that went really, really well. I think we took 5 or 6 truckloads of recyclables to Sisson Street. So thanks for everybody that helped out with that. And thank you, Christina and the Charles Village Community Benefits District for setting that dumpster up for the community. And when I say that, I actually noticed that I skipped Christina a little bit earlier in our agenda. Christina, did you have anything from the Charles Village Community Benefits District that you wanted to share?
Not in particular. I don't have any new information to share at this time about our Director of Safety Search. We closed the application at the end of last month, so we ended with nearly 40 applications. And the emails have gone out now to the presidents to begin the meetings of the search committee. And so that will happen over the next few weeks. And by the end of January, hope to have a candidate recommended to the Benefits District Board. I was going to mention the dumpster day, and that as soon as communities have their dates for dumpster days this year, if they could let us know when they would like a 5th additional dumpster day that we can schedule for the neighborhood. And then to just echo your sentiments about Sisson Street, it is a very important resource for our organization at this time. We use it 6 days a week, would be 7 if the Sisson Street was open 7 days a week. But more importantly, our operations would be heavily impacted if that location left. Understand that development is important. I guess for us, it would just be it would be something that we would be interested in seeing more communication from DPW and more assistance with their operations. So if their operations were more efficient, we might be able to work better with them and allow our operations wouldn't be so heavily impacted by a relocation of Sisson Street. But also that is one of the most utilized convenience centers in the city. So everyone knows where that is, everyone uses it. So whatever the option is that is put forward by the city, it has to work for multiple people, not just our operations, but multiple communities as well. So that is, we had a conversation at the end of last month with DPW around some of our concerns, and are just continuing to have those conversations as things come up, just to make sure that it's understood that it is not just a resource for us, but a larger community, and it's important.
Thanks, Christina. I appreciate that. And just so that everybody's aware, the Director of Safety position is the one that was just recently vacated by Tony Brown. I know a lot of people were familiar with Tony Brown, so that's the position that we're looking to hire if you were unfamiliar with that.
And I'm sorry, I did have one more thing I forgot. So there are going to be some new faces coming on board in February. We have applied for a fellow with University of Baltimore, as well as a fellow through a national organization, not a fellow so much, but a AmeriCorps Vista through Leveraging Initiatives Support Corporation, which is a national organization focused on community safety, is going to be that person's role. And then we're also hoping to bring on a 3rd person to assist with our illegal dumping campaign. So really ramping that work up and having some additional capacity to really move that forward this year. So people are starting to reach out to you from the Benefits District. Please respond. I'm going to make sure they know everyone and that they know how to engage with everyone. And hopefully we'll be having some opportunities to gather in person later this spring, fall, summer maybe, hopefully.
Awesome. That sounds good. Having more help's always a good thing. All right, getting back into kind of the community reports. The next item on the agenda is Christmas tree pickup. I know a lot of people do live Christmas trees and are wondering when, when can we start setting those out for trash pickup? Baltimore City also has a mulching service. If you wanted to mulch your Christmas tree and use that mulch somewhere around your property, you can take it to the Sisson Street Center that we were just talking about, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Just make sure you take a bag with you. If you want to leave it out for regular trash pickup, you can do that beginning this week with pickup, and that runs through February 6th if you like to leave your tree up for a little bit longer. Any questions about Christmas tree pickup? Pretty straightforward, I think. Next, we had some people from St. Moses reach out and let us know that there were some pod learning spaces open. They'd like to focus on elementary and middle schoolers from Barclay. So if you have some kids in your household that are looking for a better place to do some online learning, it sounds like they have a nice space set up and have Wi-Fi access, and are doing breakfasts and lunches through the school pickup program. I believe there's more information in the agenda if you would like some more information. Yeah, it actually has where you can register and everything in the agenda. So go to the agenda if you would like some more information for that. Another thing that I thought was kind of neat, the Community Law Center is doing a Start Your Own Nonprofit in Maryland workshop. I know a lot of people are kind of diversifying what they're doing. Maybe you've lost employment or changed employment or whatever. Maybe you're thinking about starting a nonprofit. They've got an entire workshop to kind of walk you through that. It's $75 for the Zoom workshop, and you also get a manual with that. And the registration information is in the agenda as well. Another one kind of in the same vein, Operation Hope's entrepreneurial training program. It's an 8-week program that's providing entrepreneurial materials and guidance for people to help succeed in business. If maybe you're starting something new and you want some help with that, there's an 8-week free program that's available. It looks like Robin Haynes is the contact, and there's some Eventbrite details in the agenda if you want some more information on that. Next, we had the Central Baltimore Partnership report out. I don't see Aaron on. Miller, did you have anything further from CBP that you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, I wanted to, I was trying to upload a document to the chat that everybody can make reference to about homeowner tax credits that we want people to know about. And one credit, the application starts in February, but also it has information about the HUBS program. And I know that a lot of folks in Harwood have been reaching out to some of their folks that are over 65 who maybe have some problems with their homes that need to be addressed. Now's that time of year where roof leaks and those sort of things are extremely problematic. Also, if someone, we know how it is sometimes when you turn on that furnace for the first time and it works for all of 5 minutes and you have that, oh crap, I'm a homeowner moment. And so sometimes folks have to deal with those things, and HUBS can help. So I will find a way to get that on the website. Kyle, I sent you a message. It doesn't seem attach it to the chat. So it wants me to upload it to OneDrive or something, which then I have to log in. So that's there. Okay. The other thing is, Keith, next month, if you can put me on to talk about the Green Mountain Law Opportunities and Wellness Program that will be starting and that I'll be working on, including the Harwood, Greenmount West, Barclay, and East Baltimore Midway neighborhoods, talking about increasing access to healthcare, healthy food, and opportunities for youth. That is my new gig, which I think everybody knows about, but we've been holding some of our task force meetings, and we'd be doing some in-person talkback sessions, but unfortunately we've got COVID to deal with, so we're going to be moving forward with a couple of things in the very near future, and as we can, we'll be getting folks together virtually to talk about how we move forward with some of those things. So, sorry.
The dogs have something to say. Thanks for that update, Miller. I'm really excited that Miller's in that position. I think if anybody can get Greenmount lined up, it's going to be somebody that lives on Greenmount, and that, you know, I'm super pumped that Miller's in that position. I think it's going to be a
Can we slow down with the pressure there? Let's slow your roll a little bit.
I thought you were on mute and you weren't going to be able to come back. But I'm very excited for that, and we're looking forward to see what more comes out of that, Miller. Thank you. We'll make sure we get you on the agenda for next week, or for next month rather. Where are we at? Some Harwood updates. Clean and safe. We already kind of alluded to the December cleanup that we did. I believe that was on the 29th. It was on the Tuesday before New Year. Thanks again, Christina and the Charles Village Community Benefits District for supplying the dumpster. People often ask, where does this money go to, in addition, you know, your tax money, in addition to the people that are on our streets on a daily basis, sweeping them up. That also helps pay for the dumpster that we saw. So thank you very much, Charles Village Community Benefits District. We did have a meeting with the Caring Hands Behavioral Health Center, the operator there. We had some concerns about what exactly their plan was for that area. The meeting started out rather contentious. I feel like the lady, I think, kind of felt like she was being attacked, and I could kind of see where she would feel that way. So we all kind of talked about it a little bit, and we all kind of came to the agreement that we're all wanting the best for the area. I think one of the main questions that people were asking about that is, are they going to be dispensing medication? And there's a number of people on this call right now that were also on that call. So from what I understood, they will not be dispensing medication. Can anybody correct me if
Right
I'm wrong?
away, they're going to do it, but they're not doing it now. They're applying to be able to get the opportunity to do it.
She's applying for it,
Okay.
which is unfortunate.
Yvonne, were you on that?
Yes, I was.
Do you want to share any more feedback, like your thoughts on how that meeting went, and just your thoughts as a community member with what you heard from that group?
I mean, I think it was contentious, partially because she came in defensive about even the meeting. That was my take on it. She came in with the idea of what we were going to say. And I think she came in there with her shoulders up, ready to combat us. I think we all want what's best for people who are having problems with substance abuse. But we also talked about the fact that Harwood already has one major problem with the one we have here, and we're having another one now enter into our community. And it's not what they're doing, it's the fact that what they attract outside of what they're doing. Because these people are trying to get their drug habits under control, and the drug dealers are coming to peddle their wares, because they also know that what they may be getting in the form of a placebo or whatever, not a placebo, but as a counter drug, is not really what they want. They want the effects of real drugs. So then we have that element that comes back in our community. And I know there's nothing we can do right now, because that place has already been authorized. But I think we as Harwood have to become much more proactive to make sure that these types of clinics are not afforded to our neighborhood. I think we have enough. But I think she was concerned, but she's also leading a business in Columbia. I think that's what she said, or Ellicott City. And she never really gave a reason why, except that she bought the property in Harwood. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really know why she's vacating the one she has and bringing it into Harwood. So I was not impressed, unfortunately. And I'm going to be very diligent in making sure that when she does start administering drugs, that we keep our guard up for what actually happens. I think Harwood owes it to itself because we're a community that's growing and it's growing in a positive way. The last thing we need is a negative, you know. So, and I think we need to do our legislatures about having these types of businesses in communities, you know. But again, it was a contentious meeting. I think she left the meeting in a moderate manner, but we'll see. We'll see what
Hey,
happens.
Keith, can I just, let me add on to there, because I was on the meeting and I just want to add a different viewpoint. I think that, you know, facilities are welcome to operate. You know, Harwood has a history of meeting with business owners prior to opening to make sure that we're successful and can talk about how we can support them in the same way that they are supporting us. I think that our concern is more about the numbers. When we have more people coming into our community for treatment than we have people living in the community, how are we managing the bus stops, the traffic flow, the trash? And I can say this, I could care less how upset she thinks she was. I'm upset that she let her construction site look the way that it is. So she can be as angry as she wants. The truth is the truth, and I have pictures to show that. And so all this time she's been working, and at some point without permits, mind you, and we had to call people out for that. So come correct, come to the table correct, and then we can have a conversation.
Can I just add to that too? I was on the call.
I was hoping you would. Please do.
This is a big deal all over the city, all over the district. You know, we certainly want to address the substance abuse issues that we have in our city. There's no question about it. It's not done, I think, in the way that it should be in terms of a clinical approach, in terms of, you know, being able to go to an actual doctor to get your prescription, or you go to the, you know, the pharmacy or whatever. But there's a lot more that needs to be done about that, right? The problem is that with ADA, and we have this issue in other areas where there's actually recovery houses, so fair housing, you know, doesn't allow us to say yes or no. And it's also a zoning issue to see, you know, what is allowed based on the zoning, okay? So here's what we have to do in the meantime. And until, I mean, I'm thinking about legislation to try to do a registry so we actually know where they are, because we don't. And maybe some other types of regulation, but and also spacing in between, so that you're not going to have another one come in next door, right? But also we just have to be diligent. So if you see anything, 311 all the time to build that case. That's for whatever it is, whether it's trash, whether it's, you know, loitering outside, whether it's, you know, whatever you see, that's going to be important. Now, again, I'm very clear that it's important that we have areas where we can address substance abuse, no question about it. But we want to make sure that those are good companies for the neighborhood, but also for the clients. Like if they're not getting good service, that's not going to do anything for them either, right? So, you know, so we have to, you know, be diligent, okay, and address it. Just whatever you see, you know, 311.
I will also echo that, because one thing that she did mention on the call was that she had been cited several times for trash. So that at least made me feel good that our code enforcement system is working, even if it's not working in the ways that we want to. She was being cited for the trash that was accumulating on her property.
And again, that's the same thing with like other establishments. We have to build the case in case something does happen. So just keep doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a great time to plug 311. We haven't talked about it in a while, but it is really a great resource. I know some people say, oh, nothing ever gets done through 311. You know, people kind of wring their hands about it, but it really is our way to get in contact with the city and let them know that there's an issue and let them know that there's something wrong. You know, you can send myself or Miller or anybody an email, but when we go to, whether it's our representative or somebody else within the city, the first thing they ask is, what's the 311 number? So if we haven't been reporting it, it's really not. If you see something, report it is really all I'm trying to say. And the app is actually fairly useful. Give it a shot if you haven't before. Next up on the agenda, the United Way neighborhood grant that we talked about previously. I believe it was Simone's idea to use that for the alley lighting. We applied for that. We applied for the full $10,000. We have not heard back yet, but we will keep you all posted as we know more. Next up, I believe I saw Matt hop in. Matt, are you with the Barris Real Estate Group? Are you on?
I'm here.
Yeah, there you are. Hey, Matt, how are you? Take it away.
Okay. I'm Matt Herman. I'm with Greenmount Partners. We're the company who's bought up a whole bunch of the empty properties along Greenmount Avenue, starting at 29th all the way up to 34th. And so I just wanted to join in, update everybody on some of the projects that are going on, and see if anybody had any questions or concerns that I might be able to address. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the mural that recently went up that was painted by Gaia. That was something that we commissioned. We're actually in development, in pre-development for that building right now. It's going to be street retail, and on the second floor is actually a co-working space that's going in there. Across the street is where the community, the People's Community Healthcare Center was. That's just been renovated into furnished office suites. I'm actually sitting in one of them right now. And there's also going to be a copy ship center, so like the FedEx store is going to be in here as well. It's going to be able to accept and UPS, FedEx, Amazon packages, mail, and we'll do a lot of printing as well for Hopkins and other neighborhood companies. That's actually, we're finishing up the work there now, so that should be, at least have a soft opening within the next month. We have the Baltimore Rock Opera Society just moved into 3107 Greenmount Avenue, which is right next to the Goodwill. It's the building that when the shutters are up, it's got like big round openings. So they're in there now, kind of fixing it up and making it what they want to be after, I don't know, 10 years or so of all of their escapades and drama and being removed and put back into the Bell Foundry. They finally decided to make a move a little bit north up into our neck of the woods. Then we have up right where the building that wraps around Pete's Grill. It's to the left of Pete's if you're looking at it on Greenmount. And it's the early attic building if you're looking at it from 32nd Street. I can't give you the name of the actual business that's moving in there, but it's a well-known bookstore and cafe, and it's very exciting that they've just decided to move there, and they're going to move pretty permanently. So we've got a lot going on. We have above 33rd Street, we already have Greenmount Collective. I moved in about 1.5 years ago, and we're expanding what's going on there and across the street into a commissary kitchen slash I'm sorry, just lost my word. Marketplace. So those are in design right now up there. So we've got a little bit more to do there before we actually know what it's really going to look like and how it's laid out, but that is moving right along. And then we have a warehouse. We have the warehouse that's right in back of the Salvation Army. It's near 29th and Greenmount, and that's actually going to become a co-use space for retail food businesses. It's a space that allows small neighborhood businesses and city businesses to have a space to package, produce, label, and distribute their products.
Hey, Matt, in the chat, Miller's asking if you could share the cool map that shows all the properties that you're improving.
Okay.
I think you just put yourself on mute. Still nothing. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
And let me also say, I didn't do a great job of introducing Matt. As we were kind of saying with the caring hands, we oftentimes ask businesses and developers and different people to kind of come and meet with the community and let us know what their plans are before they're moving ahead. And that is what Matt's doing right here. This is him and his company doing their due diligence and meeting with the community and kind of letting us know what their plans are. So just to kind of give you a little bit more background of why Matt's here and what he's presenting. He and his group are doing a lot of work up through Greenmount, and he just has a lot of exciting stuff that we thought would be good to share with the group.
Yeah, and by the way, as I'm waiting for this thing to open, we are everything that we're doing is based on the Waverly Main Street master plan from back in 2013. So that was where all the neighborhoods got together and put their input in, and a whole plan was designed. We kind of took that and ran with it. And that's actually the map that I'm about to show you guys comes from that.
I was wondering if I could jump in and ask if you're working with the city at all on the street design, if you're including any park bump outs or bike lanes, or do you have any say in like traffic management in the area, or are you kind of just focusing on what's going in the building?
I could talk about that when we get to it. Wait, after. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we had some kind of say. We'd have it done by now, but yeah, unfortunately, we're kind of like everybody else, like all the other neighbors, and just kind of watching and waiting. I do have some of the sketches and drawings from the city. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet.
Have an update.
Yeah, we'd love to see him.
I'll be happy to give you an update.
Thanks for that.
Okay, so can you guys see this map here?
We can. Okay.
So our locations are the ones that are in purple. We actually have the locations of significance are in blue, and current stable retail is in red, and we are in purple. So you can see all the way at the bottom next to Peabody Heights Brewery is the warehouse. It's actually where the first base bleachers used to be for the old Orioles Park. And K is where I am right now. It's the old People's Community Healthcare Center. J is where the mural has been put up. If you go up above 33rd Street, the green strip, you see D, which is the old Uncle Lee's restaurant, and B is where the Greenmount Collective is, and where Odette had her campaign headquarters. So this is we tried to get a hold of as much as we could along Greenmount. We have we put private investment money into it. These are from investors that actually very little of us wanted to see the neighborhood revitalized, and so they put in a significant amount of money to enable us to do this. And then we're working with the Baltimore Development Corporation, Central Baltimore Partnership, Central Baltimore Future Fund, a bunch of other organizations to collaboratively to get this and some of the other projects done. Yeah. So are there any questions I can answer for anybody?
Yeah, did anybody have any other questions?
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Oh, you go
I'm
first.
sorry, go ahead, Alice.
Oh, no, you go first.
I'm hoping to get, if we can get, the community can get a timeline for when these things are actually going to come online. I've heard, some things may or may not happen. I'd like to know dates of when it's going to actually happen, or when certain projects are going to be done.
Okay, I can tell you the People's Community Healthcare Center, which is the furnished office suites. It's a company called Office Flex, and also the co-working and the copy ship center, all part of Office Flex. The first phase of this, which is where I am, and the copy ship center, should be the next 4 to 6 weeks. Should have at least a soft opening. So that's pretty much ready. And then we're in the middle of pre-development, which means we're kind of getting through the design phase and more into the kind of implementing, kind of switching it from design to financing and construction. So that's we're hoping to have that done, or at least get it started by spring. Get it done, hopefully not too long after that. Although I don't want to make too many promises. It's hard to tell with these buildings how long it's going to take to actually do the work. Never know what you're going to find. And we're also running up against really significant delays with the city, with permitting, with the state and deed recordation, and some of those things that are necessary to get loans. Some of those things, there are delays 2 to 3 months, but we're working on it. The cafe near Pete's is probably.
You're on mute.
I am.
No, you're good. We got you.
Okay, you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably, I'd say, 12 to 18 months away. And up above 33rd, we're still in the design process. So I don't know how long it's going to take to finish designing, or how long it's going to take to construct, because we have to get the design done first. But we do have all these things in process right now. So it's, they're not going to sit around for another, 5 or 10 years empty. It's definitely
They're not
moving.
empty for another year, 6 months.
Well, some of them will be. Some of them will be empty but under construction, and some of them will still take some time. But we have I think the majority of them, the great majority of what we have is underway in one form or another. We don't have control over all of the empties, but we have, you can see 14 of them.
Allison, did you have a question?
Yes. You said there's a cafe coming,
Yes.
and you don't, which cafe is it? It's one that exists?
Right now I'm not allowed to disclose that yet. I'm still under a non-disclosure, but they will be making an announcement soon.
Okay. I'm gonna guess it's Red Emma's. I'm just gonna guess.
I can't confirm or deny anything.
Okay.
And which property was that going into?
So that's it's actually 2 properties which are being combined. Basically wraps all the way around Pete's Grill. So it's the early attic building, yeah, and the one that's just to the left of Pete's, if you're looking at it from Greenmount.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The other question is that just based on development that's happening throughout the city, how in this process is this equitable to existing people in the neighborhood, lower income people? How will it be something that is inclusive of the area without people being pushed out?
It's a very good question. Well, first of all, I don't think that there's anybody who's going to be pushed out. All of our projects are designed from the beginning for the surrounding neighborhoods. We're not trying to bring in anybody regional or go for a regional audience. This is a local Main Street, and it's for the local neighborhoods. Yeah, I'm actually a neighbor too. I live right on University Parkway, and I've lived here for 20 years. So that's who we're doing this for. So we are going to encourage and actually help small businesses, existing and new small businesses from our immediate areas to get started here. So we offer a lot of help and support for them, both financially and otherwise, to help them get in and get started here. We have the enterprise zone tax credits here, which is great to help encourage the businesses to hire and to incentivize them to hire and help them be able to hire people from locally from the surrounding neighborhoods from close by. And we have our warehouse, the project that's going in there. We'll have a workforce training program, and then we'll have opportunities also for hire with all the businesses that are going to be located in there. So we're going to have there's going to be a special training program where people can get trained on how to use the specialized equipment. And then there'll be businesses that will need to hire, and they'll be able to hire already trained employees on these specific equipment, and even the people that are trained there who don't get hired by the companies right in the warehouse will now have these skills that are marketable. Also, we have a couple other tenants that are coming in that also have specific workforce training programs. So they actually have something that's designated for that.
Could you tell me?
Oh, you muted yourself, Yvonne.
Could you tell me how that information is being disseminated around the community so that some of our children who are desperately in need of not only training, but opportunities to add income to the households? How is that information going to be disseminated? And how can we help disseminate that as a community?
Well, as those projects move along, as we have better timelines and we have a better idea of exactly how those are going to actually manifest, I'll have more of these meetings and be able to give you more information on it. And we're working with the city and with nonprofits in order to get that information out, make sure there's funding for it. So do marketing for that.
And we have a community center, the 29th Street Community Center. It would be helpful if that information is given to the community center so that they can all, because they know who these children are, and it'd be very helpful for them to be able to help some of the children that are supported by the community center.
Yes, that one and the Greenmount Community Center as well.
And Matt, please feel free to make me one of the first people you send that info to, as I'm also working on workforce development. So I'll be happy to spread those words.
Yvonne, I was going to say, Matt was brought to my attention via Miller, and I have a feeling they're already working together through the work that Miller's doing. So I promise we will get that information out and we can get it disseminated. That's one thing that I've tried to do more than anything, is just get information out to people, because there's a lot of information and we don't know exactly who can use it. We're just trying to pass it all along so we can if you know somebody in your network, you can connect them to that. And I've asked people to do that in the past, and maybe that should be an every meeting type deal. Like, we're all kind of there's a lot of people in our community that don't make it to these calls for one reason or another. If you know somebody that could possibly use some of the stuff that we're talking about, please pass this information along to them. This information's only good if it gets in the hands of the people that actually need it. And we're just doing our best to try and pass that information along. So please reach out to people, your neighbors and stuff like that.
Thanks a lot.
Odette, did you have, I'm sorry, Allison.
Get a copy of that plan, the Waverly, whatever the plan was that was developed in 2013. Is there any way we could get a link to that?
We'll look into that.
I just posted it.
That's actually on Waverly Main Street's website.
Okay.
Waverly what website?
WaverlyMainStreet.org.
Okay.
Main Street's website.
Yeah, and I would think a lot of that stuff that you were asking about, Allison, is probably worked into the Waverly Main Street, the plan that they laid forward, and that's what this group is working off of. So I think some of your answers might be found there.
It's a little bit old, but the Main Street's actually, they've actually gathered some money to be able to update it. I don't know how long that's going to take them, but when you look at it now, it's kind of developed in 2013. It's just kind of pre-Amazon. So a lot of the financial numbers that you'll see on there are kind of old, but as far as the development plan, that's what we're still going by.
Hello. I would just like to say that I'm glad to hear that this is moving forward, because I went to some of those original meetings back in 2013. And it's good to hear that there are going to be some improvements in this area, and I'm looking forward to that. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thanks, Wilma. Did anybody else have any questions for Matt? Matt, we appreciate you presenting.
I'm sorry, Chief, I did.
Yes, ma'am.
I had posted my question in the chat, but Matt, I was just wondering if you had a timeline or a plan for the Vineyard Lane lot?
No, actually, we don't have a plan for that. We have some ideas for it, but there's nothing in the works right now. Okay. I do see you said that you're getting complaints about dumping and loitering. Yeah, we do actually. We have a lot of problems with dumping there. It's one of the reasons why we took it over. We do go there often and regularly and clean it, but it's kind of hard to keep up. And we also have that problem, and we have a parking lot above 33rd Street that's we have the same kind of problem with, where there's an incredible amount of dumping and it's hard to keep up. We actually keep a dumpster here on Greenmount that's hidden, but we go through often and grab what we can as far as bulk trash and the stuff that's dumped and haul it over there.
We appreciate it. Anybody else have any questions for Matt? I think Odette had something that she wanted to add about a Greenmount update.
I have lots of updates, so I don't know if this is the right time.
Yeah, give them to us.
Okay.
We're kind of through our agenda. We've got our board elections that we do need to get to,
Okay.
and we've got a couple other people. I know Emil and Gina probably has something to say as well.
Keith,
And
can I jump in real quick?
yeah.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm going in the chat. I'm going to put my cell phone number, personal cell phone number, and my email address. So if anybody has any questions, concerns now, later, anything that I can do, feel free to contact me anytime.
Hey, Matt, one thing, somebody asked if they could potentially get a copy of that map that you put up. Could you send that to us so that we can make it available for people, or is that?
Yeah, let me get the latest version. It's in PowerPoint, so I'll make it into a PDF and I'll get that over to you.
Perfect, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Sorry about that, Odette.
No worries, no worries. So I guess we'll just transition into Greenmount Avenue. There was a update meeting about all the work that's been done on Greenmount Avenue from 29th Street up to basically Cold Spring Lane. Okay, so a lot of you're not seeing work on the Harwood side of 29th Street because that's not part of the plan. Okay, So just letting you know that the water and the conduit part is done from the 29th Street up to 34th Street. And then they're still working on the 35th Street. They're still working on the conduit and water above 35th and north to Cold Spring Lane. The next phase, the streetscaping has started, but they paused over the holidays so that we wouldn't have construction. God, we're so sick of the freaking construction on Green Mountain Avenue, so that we wouldn't have construction during the holidays, so businesses could have the parking and all of that. And so they did start the streetscaping is to replace the sidewalks on both sides from 29th Street up to 35th or 36th Street. And really make and do the crosswalks are going to be decorative crosswalks, and there's a couple of bump outs along the way, but not very many, just so you know. And so there are things that because the plan was developed a while ago, so there are some things that some of the neighbors have approached us with, and some advocates about how to do better traffic calming on that strip. And so we're in communication now with DOT to try to get that done. Plus, there's BGE is supposed to come through. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not want to waste money. This is all federal money that's paying for this. And lay out a nice street and then have BGE dig into it. No, it's not going to work. So we were able to coordinate with BGE so that they go in first on 32nd Street and Green Mountain Avenue, and then we do the streetscape moving forward. So just so you know that's all going to happen in May. All right, that BGE part right on 32nd and Green Mountain Avenue. And then we've got some other things like the Rails to Trails thing is happening, and so we've got to just figure out how those intersections are going to work. And so we're in communication with DOT to try to do some of these fixes and do some more traffic calming, possibly retiming the lights, that kind of stuff, just to make sure that we're not wasting any federal money, first of all, and that we're still doing, there's been a huge set of neighbors that want to crosswalk on 35th Street, and that's not in the plan right now, for instance. So the whole thing is supposed to be done by 2022. So we'll, towards the end of that, just to manage expectations. But right now we don't have any plan that I know of for below 29th Street for Green Mountain Avenue. And so that might be something that this organization might want to think about now that you've talked about, working on East Harwood area and some of the development that's going on there, which I just learned about. We may want to start thinking about that part of Green Mountain Avenue. So that's my Green Mountain Avenue update. Any questions? Delegate, do you want to add to that since you've been in these conversations?
Yes, and I see the comments are already in the chat, and so Councilwoman and I have been working with DOT and other partners to, as she said, I am the two-time removed past board chair of Waverly Main Street. So I was there when the master plan was created, and then at that time we've been talking about a streetscape. So it is incredibly frustrating that we're still essentially talking about a streetscape. And so we're trying to work with DOT and get them to work with federal partners as we work with these other projects. One, of course, being Complete Streets and the Greenway Trail, so that we can kind of just remove some items potentially from the current Greenmount Avenue streetscape, because they'll already be implemented in the next two projects to help save money and time. But the councilwoman knows that I have been very rude, I should say, about this project, and that it cannot go beyond another 2 years, not 2 years in a day, not 2 years in 5 minutes. It's got to be done in 2 years or less, because our businesses and our residents are exhausted. So we were just really working together to figure out how we can do this, but do it in a coordinated effort so that each project doesn't waste money, or as we're seeing now, having to rip up work that's just been done to do work that the next project has to do. So we're working very diligently on that.
I'm glad to hear that this has got the eyes of our representatives, because it has been very, very frustrating with I mean, Greenmount's been a wreck for quite some time. So I'm glad to hear that there's a plan for there's an end in sight. Ms. Ramos, did you have more to share?
If you don't mind, I want to make sure that you all know that the plastic bag ban is coming. All right. Right now it's set for January 13th. So when you go to the Giant on January 13th, there will not be plastic bags. Okay.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yep. So what does that mean? There's two things that happen. They will have paper or some alternative bag that's acceptable, that's biodegradable, that you could pay, the law says a minimum of 5 cents. So they may charge you more than 5, I don't know, but it's minimum of 5 cents for those alternative bags. Or you bring your own bag. Now, if you don't have a bag, okay, we are going to be working with the city to distribute bags at the Giant on the 13th of January at the moment. That's the plan. And also call our office and let us know, and we'll work to get you a bag. And I left my information in the chat. The other thing is that if you are like me and have a million bags, that I don't need a million bags. Okay. I got bags everywhere. I'm sure that's true for you. If you'd like to consider donating them for folks that don't have the bags, take them to the Waverly Market on Saturdays, go to the compost table, and there will be a bin there that says bags, reusable bags, put them in there, and we'll sanitize them, everything that we need to do, and make sure that they get distributed to the right people. We're also going to be distributing free bags at the mutual aid over in Better Waverly, and also in the food distribution in Coldstream Homestead Montebello. We can think of other kinds of events for this neighborhood if you'd like, to try to make sure that folks that need reusable bags, are able to use the bags. Now, some of the businesses, rightfully so, I think, are upset because they finally, this has been in the works for a year, but they're just reminding people now, like it snuck up on me completely, I will say. So you might hear a couple of complaints here and there, but the 5 cents is that the 1 cent goes to the city and the business keeps the rest for their admin cost of trying to buy these new bags. So there's multiple parts here. There's no more plastic ever anywhere in your grocery store, on your restaurants, none of that. Okay. And the second thing is that if you wanted the best thing to do is just get a reusable bag and a couple of them. And if you don't, then you're going to get charged at least 5 cents for an alternative bag. Okay. Any questions about that?
There was one question in the chat, if there are any COVID restrictions for bringing your own bags.
No, I think in the beginning of the crisis, there was a little bit of confusion about that. But the virus doesn't stay on surfaces, it's airborne. So, now I get it that at the Giant, if you bring your own bag, the cashiers won't bag it. Well, you have to bag it. I've learned to do good bagging as a result. And that's okay. So, but all of we're going to figure out ways to make sure that it works, make sure everybody's got hand sanitizer and all of that.
That was actually my point, Odette, because I know that the Safeway on 25th, they don't let you bring your own bags if the checker is gonna bag them. So I guess you have to bag it yourself.
Yep.
Gotcha. Good call out, Emil.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Emil, for that. Yep. And the delegate had something to add.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's also personal too, because I've taken my personal bags and people have bagged it. So maybe personal to whoever, I don't know if it's the store policy or the personal to the person who's actually bagging. I tend to go into self-checkout because I have a particular way I like my groceries bagged. But so in this was actually in our committee in session. So I think the biggest concern was about, in general, but even before COVID, like the quote unquote cleanliness of a bag going from place to place or use to use. So yes, just bring a bag, I can't tell you enough to bring a bag. It is very important, keep it in your purse, keep it in your trunks, keep it in your back seat, really just train yourself. I believe that we're all environmentalists. I know there's a debate about quote unquote poor people or people who are low income. I push back and say we are all environmentalists, and just because you're poor doesn't mean you're unable, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a capability. So I want to cut those type of remarks about poor people because I think it's just demeaning. We can all do this and we can all lift each other up to do it. I don't know if we've got, I think, Odette, did you say you have a bag drive or you had?
Yeah, we're so people can bring extra bags to Waverly Market, and then we'll make sure that they get distributed. And we're going to, the city has free bags that we're going to be distributing at the 33rd Street Giant. I think it's the 13th that we're doing it, and also some other areas of the city, of the district. Any other questions about the bag ban? The other thing is I'm starting a work group for our district on trying to get everybody vaccinated against COVID-19. The health department has put out a preliminary plan for what that looks like and the phasing from the state of Maryland. I think it's important that we have people from each neighborhood that are involved in this so that everybody's getting the information, that we're really concentrating on our seniors aging in place, making sure that they're getting vaccinated, and just put out the right information about what's going on. So, you know, however you want to do it, I have a link I can put in if you're interested in participating. But I think this is probably one of the bigger, you know, big things that we need to deal with this year is just to make sure that everybody gets vaccinated. So that's why I'm putting this working group together. We'll hear from the health department, but also work on, you know, the health department's probably going to ask us where to have general population distribution sites. What does that look like? All of that stuff. So I want to be ready. I want to, you know, have our District 14 plan for that. So I'm welcoming anyone from this group who wants to participate. And I can put the link in the chat, or I can send it to everything to you, Keith, about that. But it's coming. We're in phase 1A right now on the vaccine, which is nursing home staff, and first responders. The next phase 1B will be more of the medical profession, and also starting on the 75 and up. In terms of age, they still do not have the vaccine ready for children under 16. So, you know, that'll be an issue. And then, so, you know, again, the general population part will come later in the spring, late spring to the rest of the year. So we have enough time to kind of think this through with the health department on how we want this done. So any questions about that? Okay. I think that's pretty much, those were my big ones. I don't know if you all are seeing the We Buy Houses signs that have popped up again. Okay, good. Don't worry about it. They're popping up on the Alameda, on 33rd, on, you know, some of these other areas, and it's all leading to a company in my district. And so I'm trying to, you know, get them to take them down, to not put them up again. We Buy Houses signs are terrible, awful, not just because they're litter, but because if people actually call there, you know, it's predatory. So because they don't get, you know, somebody's in a desperate situation and needs to get rid of the house, they're not going to get what it's worth. And it's just bad. So just take them down, call 311. The inspectors will come out or take them down. And then there's an affidavit that we'll post on my website that has the information that you need to say, to send it in, where you saw it. And then those signs are $500 a sign as a fine. So if you see those, you know, just let me know. I'm trying to get this guy to just not do it. But I'm getting calls from all over the city because it's leading to somebody in my district that's doing it. So that's why I wanted to mention that. But I think that's pretty much it.
The good people of the Be More Trash Pickers Facebook page really enjoy picking those signs up.
Yeah, I'm in conversation with them right now, actually. So.
Keith, may I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is also for Councilwoman Ramos. It's been a little more than 2 years since Peter Duval, myself, and others met with then Commissioner Braverman to talk about what would be a mixed-use project on the north and south sides of 27th Street at Greenmount. And needless to say, COVID has slowed things down. But I wonder, do you have any thoughts, Councilwoman Ramos, on how we could get that conversation back on track? so that maybe at some point in the near future we can get an update from the city on where they are with the acquisition of properties and lots, so that that area can be a it develops into a project.
Yeah, yeah. After our conversation the other day, I meant to email them and see if we couldn't get a status report. So thanks for the reminder. It's probably not a bad idea to try to do a walkthrough again. We don't know yet whether Commissioner Kennedy is going to stay as commissioner or whether she's going to go back to what she was doing with the Office of Homeownership and we'll have another commissioner. I don't know that, but I think that the sort of the people who know this part, they're staying. So at least that's the case. So I'll check on that and get back to you on that. But let's try to see if, I mean, the commissioner's willing to come out and do walkthroughs. So it's probably not a bad idea to do that. I just don't know. We don't know the status of, I haven't heard anything about whether she's staying or not as commissioner. I think she's going to stay with the city, but I don't know if she's staying as commissioner or not. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for the reminder. Yeah.
Thank you. And I believe, ML, you had something you wanted to share?
Yes, thanks, Keith. I want to share, give you an update on the Baltimore Time Bank Let's Be More, but because Councilwoman Ramos just talked about the vaccine plan that she's got, I have to put a plug in for the University of Maryland Center for Vaccine Development. And they are doing a phase 3 clinical trial for Novavax. This is a study where you get paid. You have a 2/3 chance of getting the actual vaccine, 1/3 chance of getting a placebo. I put the website in the chat. You can go to there and look up and register. A phase 3 trial means it's already passed safety and basic efficacy, and they're trying to get a large sample size of diverse demographics, cross-section of the community to try out the vaccine. So I want to put a plug in for that. All right, if I may, I'd like to share a quick one-slide update on the Time Bank. Can people see one slide that says Let's Be More update?
We can.
Great. Okay. My name's Emil Volchek, pronouns he, him. I'm active with Let's Be More, the Baltimore Time Bank. And some of you have heard these updates before, but let me just give you an update on what we're doing. As some of you know, a Time Bank is a group of people who give and receive services, and they exchange time credits rather than money. One of the things we've done during the pandemic is to ramp up and try to offer COVID-19 response. We've achieved over 580 hours of COVID-19 response. And since the Time Bank started, we've had over 990 hours exchanged between members. Recently, we've had new members from Mount Vernon and Waverly join. Some of our recent COVID-19 response activities include tutoring, reading, and math with the Friends of Barkley. As you know, it's really hard on parents to have their kids home all the time. And we're helping 2 families, providing some tutoring for their children that need some extra help. And just the parents are stretched so thin. We could use more help with this. Somebody's offering transportation to a doctor's visit for a COVID-19 survivor. And there's a lot of food and clothing distribution through the North Avenue Mission, 901 Arts, Italian Cultural Center, and other organizations. Some other exchanges on the Time Bank are help with QuickBooks, offering nature walks and dog walking. Some new offers are a tutorial to teach you how to do podcasting, automotive repair advice, and tutoring. We've got our next membership meeting this Thursday, January 7th at 7 p.m. This will be a chance for us to talk about what the Time Bank's done in the past year and to set goals for next year. The website is here, letsbemore.timebanks.org, to learn more or join. I'll put my phone number and email address in the chat so that you can reach out to me directly. And I also want to put a plug in for your local mutual aid chapter. The Able Charles Village Mutual Aid is having a community meeting this Sunday, January 10th at 6:30 p.m. And so whether you're interested in the time bank or whether you're interested in mutual aid or both, please participate. These are great ways for people to help out. And I thank you for your time and hand it back over to Keith.
Thanks so much for being here. Rachel, I believe you said you had something that you wanted to discuss, maybe an issue that you were having in your part of neck of the woods.
Yeah, thanks for the time for this. I know it's my first time here. So I'm new to the area, but not new to Baltimore. I'm coming over from like the northern Highlandtown area. And I think I probably bought here in like July and probably moved in like mid-August. There is a major issue with parties on this block, on the 300 block of East Lorraine. Folks are outside super late. They're drinking. People are coming from everywhere. There's at least like 15, 20 people sometimes gathered outside. And I hear that this is like a long-term issue. And I'm just wondering if anybody has any thoughts on how to deal with it. I don't want to like call the police for something, well, for anything really, but definitely not for something like this. I did reach out to a couple of neighbors. Other folks shared a similar concern. And I've also reached out to the Baltimore Mediation Center to see what help they could provide. And I'm kind of like, they got back to me, but I'm waiting for next steps. So I was just wondering if anybody had any feedback. I'm concerned about noise levels and safety. And folks who have spoken up have had like retaliation. So.
Does anybody have any suggestions?
Yeah,
Any
it's
thoughts?
unfortunate to hear about the retaliation. I know that that used to happen on Whitridge when we moved here in 2016, and I found that one positive step was to identify and get to know the neighbors who were the hosts of the parties, and try and connect with them on a personal level. Forging those relationships makes it a little bit easier to connect, especially when it's at a point where tempers might be a little bit higher. So I'm not sure how comfortable you feel doing that, but at least in my experience, it always helps to talk to people and get to know your neighbors in the daylight.
Yeah, and I'll kind of echo that. When we moved here, we live on the corner of Whitridge and Barclay. Our corner was kind of known for, I mean, our stoop was where people hung out. And it really just took us getting to know those people, and to the point where if it was too late and we went out and we just had a nice conversation with them and said, hey guys, we're trying to go to bed, they would kind of find a different place. I know that sounds really idyllic and everything, and I'm sure you've probably tried speaking with these people, but yeah, that seemed to work for us. Anybody else have any suggestions?
So
definitely get to know your neighbors. It just takes time. It's all about just making those relationships and kind of just letting them know that what you're feeling, but also just being respectful of what's been happening on that block, and kind of what the tradition is, and just not kind of trying to make your place, but kind of working together with them.
Wilson, did you have something you wanted to add?
yes, so I was gonna say I live kind of across from Rachel on the same block, and I bought here about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's definitely been kind of a problem that has kind of, it comes and goes. Like we'll have some years it's like in the summer it's 3 or 4 days a week, and some years it kind of drops down to like once or twice a week. So when I first moved here, I tried kind of being like, I initially didn't know who the hosts were, but so when people would be out there at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and using their cars as kind of giant boom boxes, I would go out and be like, hey guys, I know you're like having fun, like having a conversation, but like I have to get up in 2 hours, and like it's like I need to go to sleep, and you're vibrating my house. And it resulted in me getting my car keyed. I have tried, like, again, being nice. Like I've kind of identified some of the neighbors who are the hosts. And unfortunately, like when I have tried to go and talk and kind of like reason with them and say, like, you know, I understand that you want to hang out, and you know, it's fine, except that it's, you know, when it's 2 o'clock in the morning and people are breaking glass in the street and yelling, you know, it makes it kind of hard to like sleep. And I've basically been like cussed out and told to like fuck off, basically. So that's kind of, and I know that some other neighbors have kind of had similar experiences with trying to talk to them. So that's kind of, it feels like we're at an impasse where the attitude seems to be kind of like that they feel like they are entitled to that space and to kind of use it however they want at whatever hours they want. And some of the neighbors are getting frustrated with that, but there's kind of no like,
there's no communication between the two groups, kind of.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's communication, but it doesn't, I mean, some communication, but it also doesn't seem to lead anywhere, basically.
Yeah.
Because also, most of the people who kind of come to these are coming from other blocks or other parts of the city. And so they're not usually out at times other than this. So talking to the folks outside of the context of these parties can be kind of difficult.
Leslie, I believe you had something to add.
Oh, yeah, I agree with all their sentiments. I also live on this block, and we've tried to go through the same conflict resolution, learning some individuals. I think there's some of that stigma of legacy leadership, and of course, there's some additional issues with family transitions and COVID and downsizing. But at the same time, we shouldn't have to be going through these issues or getting negative looks at, even if I do try to address them. But part of the problem is they are drinking. I do not want to be necessarily feel like, yes, this is a police issue and hopefully we could get some conflict mediation resolved, but that's not the time to address them when this is happening either. And it's good that people are starting to speak out again, because I'm getting really frustrated, like everyone else, getting woken up or only being able to fall asleep until 2:30 in the morning when they decide to go to sleep, and then getting looked at when I start my car at 8:30 or whatever, because that's disturbing them. Well, you're disturbing me when I want to go to bed at normal hours or think about the children that hear this as well. So
Christina posted the number for Wolf Security in the chat. Christine, are you suggesting that they should give them a call and Wolf could do a drive-through?
So Wolf operates in the evenings, Wednesday through Sunday, from 7 p.m. until 3 a.m. I can completely understand. At this moment, the post orders that were set in place for Wolf don't encourage Wolf to drive above 25th Street during the evening shift. That is changing. So that's a good place to start, especially not engaging with the police, but engaging with Wolf. Wolf can drive through, and if they identify a situation where the police should be called, then they can be the ones, not the residents, to call the police.
That's great. Thank you.
Rachel and Leslie and Wilson, I'm happy to take this offline because we did use community mediation in the 400 block of Whitridge. I mean, I think that, you know, I think it's about positive conversations and yeah, let's figure out a way, because you know, everybody wants to be able to enjoy their home, right? And I think that just telling someone no, you can't do it and all that kind of stuff isn't always the best solution. And so,
Yeah.
so I would love to offline this. I sent my email address to Rachel. Leslie has it, and Wilson, I can send it to you as well, and we can maybe get 15 minutes somewhere.
Sounds good.
Great, thanks a bunch. I appreciate that. And if anybody else is looking to use the community mediation, Baltimore community mediation, they're only doing Zoom right now, which is another extra layer. They can do a maximum of 8 participants, but I don't know what, access and everything looks like as well. So that's another issue. But I appreciate everybody's feedback. So thanks for your
Yeah,
help.
thank you for bringing that to our attention. Um,
Can I throw
Ms.
something
Clay,
in
did you
on
have any?
this topic?
I'm sorry.
Can I throw something in on this topic, Keith?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I live around the corner, and one thing I do feel like there's like some infrastructure that we could potentially try to use for this problem. Like I did notice that it's a pretty unusual couplet on 27th and Lorraine, that they're both one way, 2 lanes in each direction. And I wonder if like the fact that we have that kind of unusual like traffic situation is like contributing to the sense that like this is a big open space you can congregate with vehicles. I noticed that people drive really fast on East Lorraine, and I think that is also exacerbated by this kind of like circuit situation. So I don't know if this is on other people's minds, but it's really been on my mind recently. I had a close call with a driver coming around from Guilford onto East Lorraine. It was pretty scary. So I do think that there's like an opportunity with the built environment that we could potentially could also address this issue of like people congregating and thinking that it's a different kind of space than it is.
Yeah, I do wonder if like back-end parking would be an option. I don't know what the measurements are. I know that's something, I'm from Southeast, so we did a lot of that work over in Highlandtown. And the double parking is really crazy. So even if we could get parking enforcement to just come down here like once a day in the evening, I think that would probably be helpful for even like a week. And I bet that would deter folks from, because they'll park and then put their loudspeakers on. So
it's
Yeah,
funny. I
think
used to be really against the double parking, but with it definitely slows people down a lot on the streets. So I've kind of like gone back and forth. It helps sometimes slow the people down, but obviously if people are just sitting there playing their music and stuff, it makes for a very tough situation. Ms. Clay, did you have anything? I know you generally like to add something. We're getting really close. If you can keep it fairly short, I would appreciate it.
I was the G Clay you asked about earlier. Something was really crazy with my computer.
I thought it was, but I wasn't 100% positive.
Yeah, it has a mind of its own. It's a new year, so it's gone crazy. I put early into the chat. I just wanted to remind people again about the program that the state's attorney has called Don't Mask Abuse. You're not alone. Together we're stronger. It's for people who are victims of domestic violence or any abuse or violence, and people that are witnesses of that abuse. So we have this program. So I just want you to know that the victim's office, our victim services office, is wonderful. There are services there for you. And the number is 1-877-SAO for State's Attorney's Office, for the number 4 TIP. So I just want to put that out there because I know with COVID, we all know that COVID, a lot of people are in very dangerous situations now. So just so you all know that there is help out there if you need it. And just really quickly, just wanted to update people on the court situation with COVID. Once we got the spike in the COVID cases, the Chief Judge Barbera, she put us back to phase 2 with some modifications. And we're going to be in the phase 2 until March 12th. Okay, so the phase 2 with modifications, the modifications are jury trials are postponed until April 26th. They are allowing hearings or court trials either in person or remotely. So they're really pushing for the remote ones. And grand juries may continue, be extended at the discretion of the administrative judge. And let's see, the scheduled jury trials are suspended and are to be rescheduled for dates beginning April 26th. And the last one is the deadline for preliminary hearings, criminal cases, is extended through April 26th. So April 26th seems to be the day. And all of this can change if everything goes well with COVID and everyone behaves and there's no really a good spike, then the stage 2 will get modified, phase 2 will get modified and maybe put up to stage 3. So our fingers are crossed. So everyone is doing pretty much everything remotely. So that's kind of where we are with that. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you for the update. That is something, domestic violence is something that's on the rise a lot during COVID. So, you know, if you see somebody or you know somebody that's having some issues, put them in contact with Gina and her group. They'll get them taken care of.
Yeah, and there's definitely services out there. A lot of people don't know about the services of the victim's office, but there's a lot of services for them, for people who need to get out of situations. So please give them a call, the number, contact me, and we could probably get you some help.
Awesome. Thank you. Did anybody else have any public comments that they wanted to add before we kick all non-members out and do some elections?
Keith, I would like to make a motion that we postpone our elections until next month. We have had to do this in the past when we hold the meeting literally on the first Monday, just because a lot of people are still getting back from the holidays. And I think that we should do that in this case. So can I get a second?
Is there a second for Miller's motion?
I second
it only because, you know, there are literally no Harwood Community Association members right now if memberships are determined by, you know, no one is paid.
I've also kind of wondered about that with the membership ending at the end of the year and then the election immediately followed.
Right.
It seems like something we might want to clear up in our bylaws.
For sure. It's a great point.
So we've got a second. Does anybody, I think we have to do discussion next. Does anybody have any discussion about that?
Yeah, on the Facebook page, where do you go to pay?
Okay, so there is a link in the post to the We Did It page. And I was hoping that it was clear, but I appreciate any feedback if it's not at all. Like I can try to make it more prominent on the Facebook page. I'm not a tech wizard at all, so but I welcome that feedback. I will try to make that link more prominent on the Facebook page.
Is there any discussion of Miller's motion to push the election to next meeting? Okay, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor, either raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any opposed? I'm scrolling back and forth right now to make sure. I don't see. Simone, is your hand raised for being for or for being for against?
I'm for postponing.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So it's unanimous. We'll postpone that until next week, or I'm sorry, next month, next meeting. And were there any other public comment? Go ahead, Russell.
Or I would just add to that and just say that, you know, just a reminder that to participate in becoming a Harwood member or voting for a Harwood member, the dues of $10 per year per household are required. So that's just a quick reminder. And again, I will try to make the link to the online payments more. Oh, I see Kyle put it in the chat. So that's right. Thank you, Kyle.
I have a quick question about that because I remember paying at some point during the summer. Like I'm just trying to how do we track to make sure that we've covered our dues and when we paid?
Yeah, of course.
I don't seem to have that information. So
yeah, of course. I do. You know, Harwood keeps a spreadsheet, kind of keeps a log of payments when they were made. We have tracked through the We Did It page, and then payments made in person to me are kept track of online in a shared Google Doc for Harwood administration. And so we do have a record of those payments, and of course, when you pay for 2019 in the middle of the year, that just renews at the top of the year. So we decided as a community organization not to go year to year individually. That would just be a lot to keep track of for sure. Us to like reach out to you next July or whenever.
That's fair.
So we just decided that top of the year membership renews irregardless of when you paid the prior year. So that being said, it's now January. Dues are due, and then obviously that will be good for the year of 2021. So,
Thanks for clearing that up. Any other public comments? Questions, concerns?
Click that link right now. They need it, and it's all done. Very
Yeah.
easy. I just did mine. It was very, very quick.
Just pay it now, get it done, so you can vote next meeting. Well, it was wonderful seeing everybody. We had some great discussion. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions or need us for anything, we've got all the different Harwood emails, President at Harwood and VP and Treasurer. Please reach out to us. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Let us know how we can help. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Hey, thanks
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you.
See everybody.
Good to see everybody.